Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, I'm Chris and I am a dermatology trainee based in the west of Scotland. And in this video, I'm going to take you through my weekend on-call schedules. I think I've done one weekend vlog in the past and it's been too long, so I'm doing another one this time because I'm on call again. So today is Saturday. It's a really nice sunny day, and so that is why I'm in my garden surrounded by my plants and flowers. It's a really nice feeling, soaking in the sun, wearing sunscreen of course. I've got to go to the hospital now to see a patient who has been handed over the day before, so I'm going to take you through to the hospital right now. Right, so at the moment it's around 12 midday and I've seen 2 patients on the wards and dealt with 1 patient over the phone. So the first patient was referred for a review from the day team because he had a very widespread itchy rash. We call this erythroderma or suberythroderma if it's covering around 80 to 90% of the body surface area. So for a patient with no known atopic dermatitis, asthma or hay fever, we have to think about other causes behind this widespread rash. So the most common cause for erythroderma is atopic dermatitis, psoriasis, but we have to think about other causes like drug rashes and malignancy or cancers in the skin. And the most common type of cancer is cutaneous T-cell lymphoma, which can sometimes present as a widespread, very itchy florid rash. So this patient already had a biopsy done by the parent team, and the reason why I was there to review is to make sure that he is getting the topicals on his body and also to make sure that the rash is not getting worse. And when I saw him today, he seemed well enough. His skin was quite well moisturized and he was not as itchy as he was before. So the next patient that I was asked to see is actually quite interesting. He had this new onset of a burning rash that appeared quite well demarcated on his arms, his forearms, and that happened overnight. He had a few other things going on at the same time, and that is why he is in the hospital. But this rash is new overnight, and I couldn't really make sense of why he had this rash, but in any sort of well demarcated rash that is localized, you have to think about things like contact dermatitis, so something you're in contact with that can either cause an irritant reaction or an allergic reaction. Of course, think about drug causes because in the hospital, patients are given lots and lots of drugs. So drugs is one of the most common culprit when it comes to rashes in the hospital. And then you think about what kind of distribution it is. Is it sun-exposed sites or is it non-sun-exposed sites? So for rashes that affect the sun-exposed sites like the face, the neck, the back of the hands and forearms, think of photosensitive rash that can be due to things like lupus and again photosensitive rash from drugs. In this case, he has been in the hospital for quite some time, so it's probably not related to the sun, and the rash interestingly disappeared completely when I went to see him. So I have no idea what this rash is, but I was glad that, it went away. So I sort of gave the team an update about the rash and also to say that I can be contacted again if the rash starts to come back. The next case that I dealt with was a phone call. I was handed over about a patient who had post-op bleeding following skin surgery on the face, and the surgery was done in dermatology, which was why the team called dermatology to ask for our help. To be honest, I rarely deal with post-op bleed in dermatology after hours. I think this is because the majority of the procedures that we do in dermatology is quite minor, and so patients don't really tend to rock up to A&E with major bleed or hemorrhage. But I can see that this can be a problem because in dermatology, Unfortunately, where we are just now, we don't have facility to manage post-op bleeding after hours. So unfortunately, this patient had a post-op bleed, ended up in A&E, and her case was discussed with the surgeons who kindly took her in because they are probably more experienced in dealing with post-op complications than us. And reassuringly, she is now in the hospital being monitored, and the bleeding has somehow subsided with pressure and local anesthesia with adrenaline and certain dressings to help stop further bleeding. So now I'm going to do my presentation slides. I've got 2 presentations to present next week in the upcoming National Dermatology Conference in the UK. So I'm excited to be selected to present, but at the same time, I think it's quite nerve-wracking to present in a group of people, especially more senior people than me. So I really want to do a good job, which is why I've brought my laptop in. I need to sort of finalize some slides and make sure that I'm fully prepared for the presentation, and wish me luck. So hi everyone, I'm Chris and I'm an ST5 dermatology trainee based in the west of Scotland. I'm honoured to be here to present our study which looked at immunosuppression. So guys, I have just been called to see another patient, and this time it's a kid in the children's hospital, which is actually quite nice because I was already in the hospital when I got called, so I didn't really mind too much to see this patient. I was called actually by A&E in the children's hospital because this child developed new mucositis around the lips, and mucositis, for those who don't know, basically means inflammation of the mucous membrane. So it can be in the eyes, the mouth, and even the genitals. So for this child specifically, he began to develop painful ulceration and blistering around the lips. So for any blistering eruption, either in a child or an adult, we try to see them as quickly as possible. The reason is because a lot of these blistering eruption can become more severe, and we want to, treat it promptly so that it doesn't get worse. And blisters are very, very painful, particularly blisters in the mouth. Reassuringly, this child was fine. He was well when I saw him, and we thought it could be a reactive mucositis to a viral or bacterial infection. And in children, it's more common to get a reactive exanthem to an infection rather than to drugs. So there is this, not as uncommon as we think, type of phenomenon that we see in children called RIME, which stands for reactive induced mucocutaneous eruption. This is an umbrella term essentially meaning a reactive rash or mucositis to an infection. And in children particularly, you get a type of RIME called MERM, which stands for Mycoplasma-induced mucocutaneous eruption. And in MERM, you don't really get a lot of skin involvement, but you do get mucositis around the mouth. And that's one of the classic signs of RIME or MERM. So that's what I think that this child has. And so we advised accordingly. And I've also asked them to admit this child in for monitoring over the weekend in case it becomes worse. So unfortunately for me, I still have a lot of things to do for my upcoming presentations. I have too many slides, too many words to say, and with just so limited time. And I think I need to really cut down on the slides, some of the words that I'm saying, because I will run out of time otherwise. So yeah, I'm going to crack on. I'm going to look at my slides again, and wish me luck. Right guys, I know it's still sunny, but it's time for me to wind down and have my dinner. Hopefully I don't get cold, but if so, I will have to deal with the calls if they come. I've got a lovely dinner made, sausages with salads. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope you like this impromptu sort of video where I take you through the weekend on call with me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up as it will mean so much to me. At the same time, if you have any suggestions on what I should make for future videos, do leave a comment down in the comment section below. I'm so hungry right now, so I will make a move. See you later. Bye.